In the early 1920s, one invention would signal the start of the modern era and the dissemination of information around the world. For the first time, the events of history could be reported as they happened to almost anywhere on Earth. That historic invention was radio. Welcome, fellow YouTubers. The Roaring Twenties radio channel brings you another video on early radio. In 1907, long before most people were even thinking about radio, a radio engineer named Greenleaf Whittier Pickard and two others, Colonel John Firth and Philip Farnsworth, started a company that holds a special place in radio history, Wireless Specialty Apparatus Company. Greenleaf Pickard was born on February 14, 1877 in Portland, Maine. Pickard would go on to attend Harvard University and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Pickard was fascinated with the new wireless technology, and in 1899 he was awarded a grant from the Smithsonian Institute to support his research into wireless communication. In 1901 he would find employment with the American Telephone and Telegraph Company, and would continue to work there until 1906. While employed by the company, he experimented with wireless telephony and followed the work of Reginald Fessenden, even observing the tests of Fessenden's radio alternator. Pickard also moonlighted as a consultant and worked with Lee DeForest in 1904. Pickard's main focus was the search for the ultimate radio wave detector, and after testing over 30,000 different materials, his research led him to testing crystals as a detector. The most efficient crystal turned out to be a fused silicon crystal he had purchased from the Westinghouse Electric Company. He applied for a patent on his detector and was granted one on November 20, 1906. When he formed his new company in 1907, Pickard would assume the position of chief engineer at Wireless Specialty. As a side note, Jagdish Chandra Bose, a professor at Presidency College in Calcutta, India, would be the first to discover galena crystals as a detector and would file for a U.S. patent in 1901. Joining Pickard at his new company would be Colonel John Firth. He would leave the International Telephone and Telegraph Company to join Wireless Specialty as a vice president and sales manager. Firth had started in the radio business in 1901 and had close ties to Reginald Fessenden and his company. Philip Farnsworth was a patent attorney with Marconi Company. Farnsworth became president of the new company. Wireless Specialty began selling crystal detectors, Leyden jar condensers, and most notably a large number of IP76 crystal detector receivers. Colonel Firth and Wireless Specialty were legally robbing the Navy blind by charging them $75 each for the IP76 receiver, which cost around $2.50 a piece to make. After a while, Navy Admiral A.J. Hepburn met with Firth and told him the Navy would go ahead and violate his patents and produce the receivers themselves if Firth did not lower his prices. Hepburn told Firth he could sue the Navy and win, but it would take years and run up legal bills for Firth's company. Firth gave in and told the Admiral he would lower the price to $15 each. I guess nothing has changed as far as military procurement is concerned. Wireless Specialty gained a reputation as making high-quality and durable products. The company would sell to other countries' militaries as well as the U.S. military. Between 1909 and 1914, they pretty much owned the U.S. Navy radio and radio parts market. In 1912, a battle for control of the radio industry began. I won't go into it now because of its complexity, but it will be the subject of a future video. During the battle, Colonel John Firth and Greenleaf Pickard sold their shares in Wireless Specialty to the United Fruit Company and left the company. Wireless Specialty then became a subsidiary of United Fruit. Firth later started his own company, the Wireless Improvement Company. After the dust settled in 1912, Wireless Specialty moved from New York to Boston. It was in 1912 that Wireless Specialty's business took off. The United Fruit Company made the decision to equip its extensive network of ships and shore stations in Central and South America with radio equipment manufactured by Wireless Specialty. Word of Wireless Specialty's high-quality and durable radio equipment spread quickly, and by 1917 its radio products were used all over the world. Sadly, 1917 also brought on the start of World War I. Wireless Specialty manufactured radio equipment for the United States military and its allies around the globe. It became the second largest radio company in the Western Hemisphere. The war highlighted the need for a low-loss power condenser for radio transmitters. Wireless Specialty had 9 years' experience building power condensers for transmitters and quickly equipped a manufacturing plant for research and development of a new condenser. The company spent $250,000 on equipment and research to solve the problem. This was the beginning of the Faraday condenser. During the war, Wireless Specialty's sales grew into the millions of dollars. Not a big deal compared to the sales of today's corporations, but a huge amount of money back in those days. The company had to quickly build 5 new manufacturing plants and expand its research division. Of all the receivers built during World War I, the SE-1420 became one of the most popular among navies around the world. None other than Louis Hazeltine led the U.S. Navy design and development of the high-quality and durable receiver. Wireless Specialty was one of 3 companies tapped to build the receiver early on, with an order for 300 receivers in 1919. The SE-1420 was still being manufactured as late as 1927 by the National Electrical Supply Company, also known as NESCO. In 1917, Wireless Specialty also manufactured the IP500 receiver. The baiting detector amplifier control box was designed by W.H. Preece, who was chief engineer at the company. To find out more about Mr. Preece, watch the Roaring Twenties radio channel's video about him and his company. United Fruit Company became part of the Patent Trust Company known as RCA in 1921, and along with it, Wireless Specialty. At that point, Wireless Specialty ceased to exist for all practical purposes. Well, that's it for this video. There'll be more to come as we continue to investigate the early history of the world's first true mass medium, radio. Thanks for watching.